because there we go. All right, recording is started. Hello, everyone. This is Dennis Kaye, and I am so glad that all of you are able to be here today on this live event. You know, I do a lot of webinars that I end up recording and then putting up on YouTube, and people get to hear of me and the work that I do through those means. But at least once a month, I like to do a live event so I can be very active with my clients. For those of you who have worked with me before or have any experience with my work, I specialize in selling real estate and investments on the island of Ambergris Caye, Belize. And I'm also the author of the Belize Relocation and Investment Guide. And if you're looking to move to Belize, to set up shop there, relocate, retire, I highly recommend that book. And if you do go online and buy it, just know that I give 100% of those proceeds to charities that, among other things, provide the deaf and hard of hearing with free educational materials. So just a little pitch on that guide. All of you have my information, my email, my website, so I don't need to go through that. But for those of you who haven't met me before, I joined the RE/MAX team of professionals several years ago. My wife and I moved to Belize from the state of Michigan over 12 years ago, and we had just had about enough of the cold winters and the poor economy there in that state. We were looking to move abroad and do something exciting with our lives. And so we ended up moving to Belize, to make a long story short. And what's important for you to know about this is that I lived both on the mainland of Belize and also on its islands. So I have a good idea of what both areas are like. And this is important because as many of you are researching Belize over the internet, you're coming up with all sorts of information regarding such things as weather, new developments, cost of living and whatnot. And Belize, even though it's a small country, is very diverse. And when you're looking at making such a major move or a major investment like this, you need to understand the nuances of the country. Just like imagine if you're going to move to New York State and you're deciding between upstate New York and Manhattan. I mean, there's a big difference between those two. Well, there's a big difference between areas of Belize too. So I kind of pride myself on the fact that I have lived in different areas and can advise my clients accordingly on which part might work out best for them. I work very closely with Big John Turley. Many of you know John through his speaking engagements around the United States and in other countries. He speaks heavily regarding Belize being an excellent investment opportunity. In fact, I just got off the phone with John a little bit ago. We talked about some of the new exciting developments that are happening now on Ambergris Caye, and I'm going to incorporate some of that conversation here into this webinar. And also on my team is DJ Matus. Many of you know DJ. He does most of my tours on the island. So if you come down or looking at condos or vacant land, you're probably going to tour with DJ. He's a local Belizean, which I love having on my team because he has a Belizean's perspective on what's going on. And he's also highly knowledgeable regarding vacant land sales and other investments on the island. So without further ado, this is what you came here for today, and we are going to have fun with this, I promise you. The man himself needs no introduction, a world-renowned actor, environmentalist, and just an all-around good guy, Leonardo Dicaprio. And I mean, what is there more to say about him? Whether you like him or not, most of you do. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be attending a webinar regarding him. He is, by all rights, one of the top actors in history to earn the kind of money he does. In 2015, his net worth was pegged at $250 million, and he is one of those few actors that have actually broken that $20 million mark per film. People like Sandra Bullock and others are making $20 million. Well, Leonardo got paid $25 million for his last film, The Wolf of Wall Street, and yeah, that's just amazing. I mean, think about that kind of cash. And so in this webinar, we're going to talk about Leonardo's involvement when it comes to Belize. For instance, here, his island here, Blackadore Caye. This is an island that he purchased several years ago with Jeff Graham. Jeff Graham is the owner and developer of Caye Espanto, another private island in Belize that's very, very well known, just off the coast of Ambergris Caye. And they bought this island together, and Leonardo has announced plans, finally, to go ahead and develop it. Now, he had plans before the recession, before 2008. There was talk of it being a Four Seasons. He had renderings done, fly-throughs, really, really cool design. But because of the economy tanking in 2008 and the recession, he pulled back, obviously. Now he's announcing plans to go through with it. And it was really neat. When he came to Belize, he said this. He said it was like heaven on earth when he came to Belize, and he fell in love with the country immediately. And then he says that Belize is truly a unique place. And you got to imagine, here's a guy that really can choose to live and travel and vacation anywhere he wants in the world. Any opportunity is open to him. Nothing is too remote, too expensive, and yet he finds Belize, the uniqueness of the country, as being something so special that he wants to be involved in doing something here. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Specifically, we're going to talk about how his involvement is going to affect the economy, how it's going to affect tourism. We're going to see also specifically which areas of the country are going to benefit most from his involvement. I mean, the country in general is going to experience some improvements and some different things going on, but there are some specific areas that are going to benefit from him, and we'll talk about those from a real estate investment perspective and how to take advantage of those. And then finally, just towards the end of the webinar, I'm going to talk about some updates on Ambergris Caye itself, some things that are from the path of progress that you're going to want to know about. But first of all, let's backtrack just a little bit. Let's talk about celebrity endorsements. Even though Leonardo is not a paid celebrity to endorse Belize, some of what he's going to be doing for the country is very similar to what paid celebrity endorsements do for big brands. As an example, of course, you look at this slide, you see Beyonce, Jay-Z, LeBron James, Tiger Woods, Catherine Zeta-Jones. All of these have their names associated with big brands, and the big companies pay these people millions of dollars to endorse and promote their product. Now, why do they do that? Well, because a celebrity is a very well-known person, and they can use their fame and use their position to help promote a product or service. Many of you know that the salaries that some of these actors and athletes make are astronomical in themselves, but it's the endorsements that they really, really cash in on their being well known. And they do this by oftentimes giving television or radio ads. They may make some appearances and so forth. And usually it's for a period of say 1 year, 5 years, 7 years, in rare cases lifetimes, where they will hook up or benefit a certain company. All right, so the reason this works so good is because celebrities in and of themselves generate just a tremendous amount of attention and buzz, and most of them are known, nationally, if not internationally. And one of the things they're really good at, marketing guys will agree with me on this, is attracting new users of a product or a service. Just by their being associated with it, people that would never even think about using this type of product, they see someone they know and they acknowledge, and that person uses that. You know what? I'll try that too. A certain celebrity drinking a Coke. Well, pretty soon other people are drinking a Coke. So forth. Take for example this slide. Just basically going on Twitter followers of well-known people in the U.S. limelight. Leonardo Dicaprio has 12.7 million followers on his Twitter profile, and he doesn't tweet that much. He only has 450 tweets. But imagine that as this new resort that he's developing is being built and launches, and now he's promoting it, imagine he sends out a couple tweets to his 12.7 million followers. Now, of course, many of them aren't going to immediately buy a plane ticket and come to Belize and either, stay for a week's vacation or invest in property, but look at the power that he has as a celebrity in marketing any brand that he chooses to associate himself with. So the word that he can get out to millions of people is just astronomical. Now, when a celebrity is well known and well trusted, if he has good credibility, then it adds credibility to the product or service that he is selling. All right, so it just really stands to reason why celebrities, because of their reach, get paid so well. And for instance, just take a look at here at these some of these examples. Beyonce signed a multi-year deal with Pepsi for how much? $50 million. David Beckham, world-renowned soccer star, even though he's retired now, he's making more money in retirement than he did ever playing soccer. He has done deals with Diet Coke, H&M, Armani, and recently signed a deal with Adidas for $150 million. Whew, man. LeBron James, Coca-Cola, State Farm, McDonald's are some of his endorsed companies, and he just signed a 7-year deal with Nike for $90 million. And then finally, Tiger Woods signed a $100 million deal with Nike, among many others. So obviously, huge amounts of money are being paid by these massive companies so that celebrities can endorse what they have. But there's a caution when it comes to this. Oftentimes, we see a company or a celebrity endorse someone, but then they have a falling out. Perhaps the celebrity or sports star does something stupid or crazy, or it puts the company in a negative light, and so they have to part ways. So now the celebrity becomes a liability rather than an asset. Or maybe there's just not a good mix, a good match, rather. For instance, check this out. A little while ago, KFC teamed up. I'm just going to sip a tea here with just 1 second. Let me clear my throat. All right, with Susan G. Komen from the breast cancer awareness organization, and it was working out really good until a nutritionist and the media got involved, and they said, look, guys, do you really want KFC, which promotes, a diet that is high in deep fried foods and delicious French fries and chicken and potatoes and all that kind of good stuff? I love KFC. Do you want them being the ambassador or the endorsement for something that is proven to contribute to cancer in many people? So, of course, they had to break up this partnership here. So it works best when the company, product or service, is aligned ethically and morally with the feelings and ideals of the celebrity or sports star. Now, for instance, these people that you see on the screen often identify themselves with certain sports companies or other companies that they fully believe in and that they fully use their product. And these companies tend to be big companies that can pay the big bucks. Now, you'll see where I'm going with this in a minute as it ties into Belize, but just bear with me here a minute. Companies like Pepsi, Coke, L'Oreal, Nike, Adidas, they're massive. They're big. They deal in billions of dollars. So for them to pay a celebrity $100 million, they know they're going to get that back in spades, right? But they pay the money knowing they're going to get a return. And the celebrity, too, is just a small portion of their overall budget. Keep that in mind. A small portion. For instance, Coke. You see Coke advertised everywhere, right? It takes millions of dollars to do that, but they keep doing it for the return business. Now, let's tie all this in to how Leonardo DiCaprio's involvement is going to have a major impact on Belize. All right, take a look at this slide. Pay close attention. This is really, really important. The country of Belize has a total marketing and advertising budget of $6 million US per year. Now, this is a total budget. This is a budget consumed by the Belize Tourism Board, the BTB, the Belize Tourism Industry Association, and the Belize Hotel Association. So those of you who have seen commercials regarding Belize in the U.S., those commercials are very, very expensive to get airtime. They also put out magazine ads in Islands Magazine and Travel and Leisure, whatnot. Those ads are also very expensive. They also do a lot of advertising on the websites and whatnot. $6 million is not a lot of money for an entire country to be advertising to the world that they are open for business. Now, just as some comparison here, the Dominican Republic has a marketing budget of $71 million. Huge. Of course, it's a larger country, but huge compared to little old Belize. But what do you see more often in the news these days? What are people talking about? What are people reading about? It's Belize, this little country with a $6 million budget compared to the DM or DR, which has a $71 million budget. And just for comparison, in January of 2012, the Four Seasons Luxury Hotel Group, everyone knows Four Seasons, they launched a new website. They wanted to revamp their website because their old one wasn't working good and so forth. So they paid $18 million to have a website built. All right, now it's a nice website, I'll give them that, but $18 million to promote their brand with the entire country of Belize. That's 3 times the total marketing budget of the country of Belize. So think about this for a minute. We have a very small country. We have 350,000 people living in Belize. The size of Belize is about the size of Massachusetts. Can you imagine now what a internationally known, well-known person is going to come down to Belize and not promote it, not be a paid spokesman to be on some commercials, not to use a product for a period of, say, 3 to 7 years. But imagine that these two are now aligned in their ethics and their morals, in their ideals for the country. Imagine what that can do for a country the size of Belize. Now, let's talk about ideals for a minute, because we mentioned that the celebrity endorsed paid celebrity and the company it represents have to be aligned. They have to match, right? There has to be a good feeling there between the users of the company and those that respect the celebrity. So many of you know that in 1998, DiCaprio established the Leonardo Dicaprio foundation, and what he does is uses a lot of his time, a lot of his fame, his own funds. He's donated personally millions of dollars to environmental pursuits that he fully believes in. He's raised millions more, and he is very, very serious about protecting the biodiversity of the ocean, forest areas. He's very serious about climate change, and he's very serious about preserving the environment. All right? Well, so is Belize. But check out this slide before we go any further. The Secretary General designated Leonardo DiCaprio as UN Messenger of Peace. Now, what's involved with that? Well, notice what Mr. Band said. Let's go up one more slide. He said that DiCaprio is a credible voice. Make sure you read that. A credible voice for the environmental movement, and has a considerable platform to amplify its message. All right, so we're dealing with not only a person that's well-known, well-paid, well-respected, but also that is viewed as credible when it comes to the environment. How does that match up with the ideals of Belize? Well, interestingly, 46% of Belize is national park and marine reserve. You see, Belize had the comfort or the privilege of watching other countries come up through the ranks, so to speak, like Panama and Costa Rica and other countries that were popular years ago. And they looked at the countries and they thought, what are these countries doing right when it comes to their development and attracting foreign investments, retirees, and also what are they doing wrong? And Belize decided many years ago that their most precious asset that they would not give away or burn through was their land and their waters. So they set aside 46% to be national park and reserve, one of the highest percentages, if not the highest percentage of any country in the world. Just amazing. As an example of this, this is the island of Ambergris Caye. For those of you who aren't aware, this is a map of it. And you can see at the northern tip, 27,000 acres were put into a national park and marine reserve. That entire area within the red oval there is set aside as a United Nations World Heritage Site. So all of that landmass, including all of the waters of the lagoon, much of the waters going out to the reef, and even in the backside up toward Mexico, all of that is set aside as a very, very unique place. And when you come down to Belize, you can actually take a snorkeling tour of it. You can go up there and you can see all sorts of wildlife and birds and snorkel. It's absolutely pristine. And so, even on an island such as this, which is the #1 destination in Belize, the government has determined to set aside a large portion of it that would never be developed, so it retains that feel of being in harmony and in respect to the environment. All right, let's go on to another aspect of the island where this is evident, the Hol Chan Marine Reserve. This is the #1 most visited spot in all the country of Belize. It's where almost everybody who goes snorkeling ends up. Now, this is a reserve, but it's water, right? So it's almost, I think it's 7 square miles of reef and seagrass and mangroves that is limited as far as what you can do with it. Like there's no fishing in those areas, snorkel only or whatnot. But just imagine the country setting aside this much of its now marine area to be completely off limits to protect it, because it's something so valuable. And also, and finally, the entire Belizean Barrier Reef, which runs from northern Ambergris Caye all the way down to the southern part of the country. This is a picture of it here. You can see the reef. You can see all the waves breaking on the reef, and that's Ambergris Caye there to the left. That entire reef was designated as a United Nations World Heritage Site in 1996. So you can see that the country of Belize is very pro, what's the word I'm looking for, conservation, taking care of what it has. It recognizes that it has something unique that no other country has, and they're determined not to let anybody come in and ruin it. And that's true even when attracting foreign investments. So when it comes to Leonardo's plans, how would his plans for development affect or sort of harmonize with Belize's ideals? So this is important to know, because when Leonardo made this announcement, the chat boards filled up with ridicule and criticism, like, oh, sure, here's another American, overdeveloping Belize and, causing problems and ruining the environment. And little did they do their homework and were aware of just how sensitive Leonardo was to his development and what he had planned for the island. I think you guys are going to really get a big kick out of this when I share all this with you. He said the main focus in developing this island is to do something that will change the world. He said, I couldn't have gone to Belize and built on an island and done something like this if it weren't for the idea that it would be groundbreaking in the environmental movement. Groundbreaking. So let's just sit back and take this in for a minute. We have a well-known, very popular actor. Many people follow. Many people respect him for his acting abilities. Many people respect him for his ideals and what he promotes. Now, you bring a person like that into the country of Belize, who is not a paid spokesman. He is actually putting his money where his mouth is. He is choosing to fork out money from his own pocket, not just to build a resort, because a lot of celebrities do that. I mean, you got Richard Branson there partying like a rock star on Necker Island. You even have Francis Ford Coppola, who's done a couple smaller developments on the mainland of Belize. Absolutely beautiful. And there's nothing wrong with that. All right. If a celebrity wants to run amok like a rock star on his own island, more power to him. But think about what he's doing here. He is not creating a place for rock stars to hang out and party with. This is going to be something groundbreaking as far as the environment is concerned. So it's going to bring a lot of attention internationally, not just because of who he is, but of what he's doing. And so what he's determined to do is to create an island of luxury, yes, sure, but also a sustainable island that features artificial reef, different marine features. He's going to work hard to protect the marine life there, not only to protect what's there, but to use what's there as a building block to create it, to make it even something more beautiful. And many developers on the island are taking those steps. They're not just developing, they're taking steps to improve what's already there. So that's important to know. Now, what about exactly where it is? This is important. And this is one of the main reasons I think you all came to the webinar today. You know what he's doing. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. But what areas of the island is it going to affect? And does that have any ramifications if you're a property owner now or if you're looking to invest in Belize? Well, here's where we start some very, very interesting photographs and maps. what you see before you is a Google Earth photo that I just kind of doctored up in my own little cheesy way. The red star that you see right in the middle of your screen with a little airplane in it, that is the International Airport. That's BZE, the Philip Goldson International Airport of Belize. That airport is the only international airport in Belize, and it's where everybody flies in and out of. So you fly into there, and then about 70 to 76% of everyone that flies into the country of Belize flies to where the yellow star is. That's Ambergris Caye. So that's the #1 tourist destination in all of the country. All right. So they fly there. It's about a 15-minute flight on Tropic Air, My Island Air. And, excuse me, the yellow star, forget about the yellow star for a minute. The white arrow points to Ambergris Caye. It's where the little Google Earth red balloon is. That's Ambergris Caye. The yellow star that you see the yellow arrow pointing to, that is Blackadore Caye. That is where Leonardo's island is, the one he's developing, 110-acre island. So look at this visual for a minute. Take it in. You can see the outline of the country of Belize. Now, it's interesting. Belize owns several hundred atolls off the eastern coast. So you can't see them too well here, but there's several hundred islands that he could have purchased and developed. Why did he choose to purchase up there where you see this yellow star? Well, it's a good question to ask, because if you have, $250 million to your net worth, you pretty much can buy anything you want. So why would he choose this island compared to all the other islands of Belize? What makes it so special? Well, let's zoom in a little bit more and see. This is a picture showing Ambergris Caye. So in that rectangle, that outlines the island of Ambergris Caye. And then you can just start to see Blackadore Caye. I have a little yellow oval around it with a yellow arrow pointing to it. That's Blackadore Caye. You see it's kind of shaped like a pencil. And there's a couple key features about the location of the island that you need to be aware of. First of all, look at the dark blue on the right-hand side of your screen. That is the Caribbean Sea. That is deep ocean waters, perfect for deep sea fishing, for divers. It's absolutely beautiful. That's deep water. All right. So then you come in from the Caribbean Sea and you hit the island of Ambergris Caye. You have to go over the reef. You remember the reef line that I showed you? So you go over the reef, and now you're at Ambergris Caye. Now keep continuing over to your left, and you see that big blue body of water, that light turquoise blue water. That is actually the Bay of Ambergris Bay. We call it Ambergris Bay. And that's open to the Caribbean. You see at the lower part of the screen, it's not cut off from the ocean. So you can go from Leonardo's Island. If you wanted to, you can go by boat all the way around the southern tip of Ambergris Caye and go right out to the ocean. And I haven't timed it personally, but I bet that drive would take about 25 minutes by boat from his island right out to the ocean. So what he could do for any of his guests that would like to experience the ocean, either go snorkeling, diving, fishing, he could either take him around, or what he would most likely do is just take him straight across to Ambergris Caye, and they could hop on a transfer vehicle of some sort and head right out to the ocean, and that would cut the time in half and allow them to experience the island of Ambergris Caye as well. But look at the waters again inside the Ambergris Bay Area. Those are absolutely pristine waters, and they're very shallow. We're talking 3 to 4 feet tops in that entire bay. And this is important because in a major storm like a hurricane, a couple of the snarky comments I got when I was posting about this island was, oh yeah, one good hurricane and that island's flattened, or it'll be underwater with a storm. Well, here's the thing they don't realize. There's 2 things that cause damage in a hurricane. The #1 thing that causes damage is storm surge. It means when you have a deep body of water that is literally pulled up to form a bubble, and then that bubble travels and causes damage when it crashes on shore. With a secluded bay like this, that's 3 to 4 feet deep, there is no large depth of water to pull from. you can't literally raise the water up because there's nothing to raise like you would on the ocean. So this island that he purchased is perfect for overwater development, which is what he's going to do. I'll show you those slides in a minute. And this is one of the few islands in the entire country that you could actually build over the water structures on because of how well it's protected. I imagine that's one of the reasons he chose this location. In addition, he has Ambergris Caye in San Pedro town as something of a unique selling point to his guests. So sure, many of them will come and spend a week. Maybe they won't even leave the island. Maybe they'll stay right there. I mean, there'd probably be not much of a reason for them to leave. I'm sure he's going to have restaurants and activities and whatnot. But knowing that San Pedro town is about a 20-minute boat ride away, many of his guests are no doubt going to want to check out what is the #1 destination in the country of Belize, Ambergris Caye. And they're going to want to walk through the streets of town and, you know, go out on some of the sightseeing excursions and whatnot. So all of this is going to have a good effect on the economy at Ambergris Caye. Now, what people also don't realize is that these waters where his island is actually the preferable swimming waters in the entire country. You notice here in this picture how crystal clear that water is, and this is not photoshopped. In fact, you can tell it's a pretty poor photo. Really, I think I just took it with my phone, and but you can see how crystal clear those waters are. There's no seagrass in this body of water. It's absolutely stunning. And what this is doing for the island of Ambergris Caye, it's opening up awareness on this entire bay of water that is pretty much unseen to most people today and undiscovered. As an example, here's another aerial photo that I doctored up. You can see Blackadore Caye there with the yellow oval around it. Right, so that's the one he's developing. Then you can see Ambergris Caye. In the middle of Ambergris Caye, where the red arrow is and the yellow oval, I outline a very small island. That is Cayo Rosario. That's a 10-acre island that I currently have listed. If any of you on this webinar are major investors, or you can put together a real estate syndication, that island is on the market for $4.5 million. That would make a beautiful complement to other high-end island developments in the area. But notice now, you have Leonardo's Island, okay? When people start to travel there, and when word gets out just what a pristine location this is, it's going to further affect the property values on the island of Ambergris Caye. And here's why. This is very important for many of you to understand who are property investors. Let's go back to the slide for a minute. Okay, you have the eastern seaboard of the island of Ambergris, which is on your right-hand side where the reef and the ocean is, all right? That seaboard is fairly well developed. All right, it's been being developed for a long time. It's where a lot of the major resorts are, like Grand Caribe and Mata Chica and the Phoenix and whatnot. But the west side of Ambergris Caye, so the left side of the island, you can see it there in this picture. There's 25 miles of coastline. And do you know how many homes are built there? Anybody know on this webinar how many homes are built on 25 miles of the most pristine water and sunset views you've ever seen? Nobody guessed? 4 homes. That's it. On this entire stretch of beach. Now, why would that be? Easy. Up until recently, there's no access. There's no way to get over there. The only way to get over there is by boat, and people don't even know about this part of the island. They don't know how beautiful it is. Well, with the development of Blackadore Caye, more and more people are going to be exposed to this bay of water, and more people are going to want to enjoy that similar type of scenery, but they're not going to be able to purchase anything on Leonardo's Island. Those homes and villas will all be long gone as far as being sold before you get to stay there. But what will be able to be purchased and developed is that west coast of Ambergris Caye. So when you look, going back to this slide, that's where that red arrow is. You see where the red arrow is? There's some important things going on in the island of Ambergris Caye that I need to fill you in on so you fully appreciate the opportunity here. First of all, you see that red line? There's a red line that goes from right to left, and it includes some subdivisions there. There's some squares. That road is the east-west connection road, and this all ties in together beautifully. This is interesting. Up until about 3 years ago, there was no way for people in San Pedro town and resorts on the east coast to access the west coast of the island. There was no roads, all right? And so very, very few people knew about Ambergris Bay. Well, recently, a developer decided to create a subdivision to establish a new town on the island. He named it Grand Belize Estates. It was a huge success. We sold out 1,000 lots over a 3-year period. And to give his lot owners access to those properties, he built this nice road that connects the east side of the island to the west side. And that road dead ends where that red arrow is pointing at. So since then, he's also launched a few other subdivisions that we'll talk about more in this webinar. But now, for the first time in history, people can go from the east to the west side of the island, and they're finding out about this beautiful bay where Leonardo's, developing his island on. And right now, if you go there on any given Sunday, in fact, if any of you listening are going to be there next Sunday or the Sunday after, go there Sunday afternoon, and you're going to see about 50 to 150 people hanging out, swimming in the waters, enjoying themselves. And there is a lot of activity now going on because this progress opened up this part of the island, and it's in this area that a lot of exciting things are happening. Now, here is just a beautiful photo that John Turley took. I have to give him his props for his photography skills on this. He took a private plane up and took this photo recently. This is a photo of Ambergris Caye looking from south to north, and you can see Blackadore Caye there in the oval in your upper left-hand side of the screen. So again, look at the proximity of where Leonardo's developing his island, bringing a lot of attention to this part of the country in Belize. That's why I fully believe that even though his celebrity endorsement, you might say, is going to add credibility to Belize itself, many people are going to look at where exactly, excuse me, he's developing and where can they be that is close to him so that they can sort of share in his vision, so they can share in the same type of lifestyle, same type of feeling that he's creating there in Belize. So let's get into the specifics of what now he's going to do. This is a picture of the island as it sits right now, raw, vacant state. In fact, it's been it's sort of been vandalized over the years. You see that it's free of many palm trees. Some of the palm trees have been stolen over the years. Some of the mangrove cut down. Some of the infrastructure and that was part of it naturally is now gone. But you can see it's absolutely beautiful. Look at the waters around it. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. I've been to this island. It's the picture doesn't do it justice, but here it is. And what he's going to do is have a total of about 68 villas on it. And what's really cool is many of them are going to be overwater villas. So here's a nice artist rendering. His architect put this out on the news about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So you have this nice arch there, and all those villas that you can see are actually over those pristine waters. Absolutely stunning. Of course, it's going to have all the services and amenities that you would expect of a nice resort, of a luxury resort. Of course, there'll be a helicopter landing pad and airstrips to be able to fly right from the international airport to this island. Here's another really, really cool rendering of it. Just absolutely, stunning if you ask me. And again, because it's his vision to make this island something groundbreaking when it comes to the environment, it's going to be really neat to see what all is involved. And it's not just going to be a green island or a green development. He's going a step further. And actually, in order to stay here, to vacation here, you're going to have to go through some sort of orientation class that teaches you about conservation. No plastic water bottles are allowed. There's all sorts of other little nuances that he's going to be announcing when he opens in 2018. But, really, really cool. And the architect said, when he was asked about why is it so modern, he said, look, we're not here to create some cookie cutter, green resort island in Belize. We don't want it to look like Hawaii or some little tiki hut in Bora Bora. We're going to do something modern, keeping up with the times. It's 2015 and everything is, internet and high tech, and we're going to make this, modern, a unique place to come. And we're excited to see what it becomes. If any of you are on the webinar today and you have a spare $15 million, this is one of the villas that is reportedly going to be on the market for $15 million. I doubt any of these villas will actually hit the market, to be honest. I think all of these will be sold long before the resort opens. But hey, you never know. If you have that kind of cash and you want to invest, let me give Leonardo a call and see if we can put a deal together. So what all of this is really doing for the country of Belize is bringing massive amounts of exposure to a small country that is already seeing a real estate boom. If this is not your first webinar with me, if you were on the last one where I talked about how Robert Kiyosaki's methods of investing is being well used in Belize, we talked about how Tom Hopkins just absolutely loved the country. All of this, we talked about baby boomers coming and investors and the exodus of capital for the United States. Many of you have been following this now for months or years, and you have invested offshore. You know that one of the things that I can't stress enough is that an investment is pretty much worthless unless you're buying in the path of progress. So if you're buying properties that are already at market value and already well-established areas with everything set and pretty around it, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table, and you're not really doing yourself any favors. What I highly recommend is look for parts of a market that have reason to go up in value, such as this area now surrounding Leonardo's Island is a key place to look because of the buzz it's going to generate. So, for example, the island there in blue, Caye Rosario, is $4.5 million. A lot of money, absolutely. Is it worth it? Every penny. Think about what that island is going to be going for 5 or 10 years from now. When a billionaire shows up to Belize to buy an island, you think he cares if it's 4.5 million or 10 million? No, he cares about location. And there's only one of these islands left in this bay that looks like this. All right, there's a few more islands to the north. One's going for 450,000. These are some islands that it would be worth it to look at buying. Also, look at buying any property that is on the west side of Ambergris Caye, especially properties that are close to heavy road access. So you have where that red arrow is pointing, anything in that general area. It doesn't have to be beachfront. It can be beach view, second row, third row, anything that gets you in that area, because this is the area of excitement. This is the area of buzz. Another place you should look at is you see that white line on the right-hand side of your screen? There's a white arrow pointing north. This is a very exciting announcement in that the San Pedro Town Council has recently announced, and they're working on this today. Today, if you're on island, go up to Portofino Resort, and you're going to see the road graders actually working at paving another 3.5 miles of that road. For those of you who ever have traveled that northern road by golf cart before it's paved, you know that it is absolutely horrible 9 months out of the year and barely tolerable the other 3. It was waterlogged, water covered, mud, pot-hilled, nasty road, and it limited the development of all properties on the north side. Now the San Pedro Town Council has already paved the first 3.5 miles. Now they're paving the next 3.5. Imagine how this now benefits all property owners on the north side and what happens to property values. Here's actual pictures taken this week of the bulldozers and earth movers, getting ready to do this. Now, this has been a long time in the works. This has not happened overnight. Those power lines that you see, BEL has taken quite a bit of manpower and money over the past 2 years to move those power lines around so that this new major road can go in. And it's exciting because it's opening up a whole new part of the island for development and for investment. So here's what we want to do. Roy Rogers said, find out where people are heading and invest there before they arrive. People are heading to Belize. I have stats and figures and numbers to prove it. For those of you who would like more information, I can share with you tourism stats, occupancy rates, property value increases. I can share all this with you even before it comes to this big announcement from DiCaprio. And what I recommend is that you can take advantage of some of this by looking for properties or real estate investments in very specific areas. Not the whole country of Belize is going to benefit from this. In fact, far from it. Right now, there's areas of Belize that I can get you, 5 acres of jungle for 25 grand, and 10 years from now, it'll barely be worth 25 grand that you paid for it, because it just has no reason to grow. It's like it's dead. It's a dead area, and it's always going to be a dead area. The reason I'm so bullish on vacant land is because it's very easy to get into. It's typically a low purchase point, very low carrying cost. Property taxes are ridiculously low here in Belize. You might pay 50 or 75 bucks a year in property taxes, and it's very low commitment. I mean, I got to be honest with you. A lot of the investors that I work with today, they're not coming to me and saying, Dennis, I want a second home in Belize, and here's my $500,000. Find me a condo, and let's go all in. That was kind of the pre-recession type sales. Right now, a lot of my investors are saying, Dennis, I'm young. I'm in my 20s, 30s, 40s. I don't know what I want to do in retirement, but I do know that I have some money now that's not doing me any good sitting in the stock market or my savings account, my IRA. Let me test the waters with Belize. I hear what you're saying. I like you. I trust you. And find me something where I can easily get in the game to feel like I'm a part of all this. Vacant land can do this for you. Some deals that I have in vacant land are a few select lots in Ambergris Bay, a few lots in the Grand Mayan subdivision, and one lot up on the north side close to the ocean. So let's just run through these options quickly. And I'm not doing this as a sales pitch. You didn't come here today for a sales pitch. I'm not giving you one, but I'm giving you the state of the market as it is today to show the potential of what it is going to be once some of these other developments start taking place. For example, the Grand Mayan Estate subdivision, it's brand new. It launched with 140 lots. Many of them have already sold. These lots are $30,000 to $40,000 each. That's total. Some are residential, some are commercial, some are corners, some are interior, but that's the average, $30,000 to $40,000 each for a lot on Ambergris Caye, right in that path of progress, right on that newly constructed east-west connection road that sees right now, at least 1,000 people travel on it every week, going back and forth, but in the near future, many tens of thousands of people traveling on that road. If you need financing, this subdivision is one of the only ways to get in the game with financing. The developer is willing to finance with 10% down, which means a $3,000 or $4,000 investment, and stretch out the payments as long as possible to keep the monthly payment low. So you can get a one of these lots for either $278 for a residential lot or $351 for a commercial lot. Again, look at this, 30 grand for a vacant building lot on Ambergris Caye, a Caribbean island that is right on the San Pedro Lagoon, one of the nicest little bodies of water that has a lot of wildlife in the center of the island, and very close to the east side beaches where the ocean is, and very close to the beaches of Ambergris Bay where Leonardo is developing his island. Here is a plot map. Disregard those prices on the right. Those are the list prices. The webinar special that I've been authorized to give my listeners are the prices I told you, 30 grand and 40 grand. But you can see there's not a lot of inventory left in the subdivision. So if you think you might want to get in on this, simply email me after and I'll send you the details. One more thing, if you're an investor, you can get a bulk lot purchase, which means a purchase of 5 or more lots and get a discount of 5%. So just another little added bonus. These lots can be purchased with personal cash or your IRA money. Now let me just talk about this just for a minute. Many of you listening have IRAs. You've been contributing to your IRAs for years, and your IRA most likely is performing dismally. We can change that. You are authorized by the United States government to purchase property outside of the U.S. using IRA funds. You cannot purchase property that you use for your own personal enjoyment, however. So you can't buy a condo and use it, but what you could buy is vacant land, which is perfect because it just sits there and grows in appreciation, especially if you buy in upcoming areas. So if you have IRA funds right now, and in that fund you have 30 grand or more, talk to me. We'll see how we can invest it for you. One of the properties that you might consider here is also located in that path of progress. It's a subdivision that's located 9.5 miles north of San Pedro town. Now, the reason this is in the path of progress, when you're looking at it, you're saying, geez, Dennis, I don't even see any roads in there. Well, there's a reason for that. Right now, you can't even get to this subdivision by road. That road that goes from San Pedro town up here is horrible or non-existent in many places. Well, the San Pedro Town Council is fixing that. They are paving over 7 miles of road, which is going to come very, very close to this subdivision. Only 2.5 more miles to go. So the progress is being pushed northward into this area. And if you were to be able to get that lot, which is outlined in red at today's prices of, I think the owner is asking $39.9 for it. It's a very large lot. It's 3.5 times the size of the other lots I was showing you. And look how close it is to the ocean. That beach line there is actual ocean, Caribbean Sea. You can get that lot for less than 40 grand on a Caribbean island. And the good thing is with this lot, it comes with zero down financing. The seller of this lot does not need the cash. He doesn't want a cash offer. There really isn't anything that he would do with the cash but reinvest it in Belize anyway. So he is willing to go zero down. So zero down and finance the balance. All right, so about the most easiest investment you can make on the island. I would pick it up myself if I didn't already have so much property already in other subdivisions. But just a tremendous value, again, in the path of progress. Here's another island in the path of progress. This island is about, I think it's about 5 miles, 5.5 miles from Blackadore Caye. It's a 4.75 acre island. It's recently listed for $450,000 US. This would be a good investment for someone to pick up on their own or form a small investor pool to pick up. And also, all those lots that face Leonardo's Island that are on the west side of Ambergris Caye, for instance, the subdivision of Ambergris Bay right now has about 5 beachfront lots that I could recommend, ranging in prices from $79.9 to $160,000. And this is actually a picture of one of the lots that I have for sale. It's the one for $79.9. I think it's 65 feet of beachfront by 110 feet deep. The island that you see there off in the distance, that's Cayo Rosario. That's the small 10-acre island. And beyond that is Blackadore Caye and Leonardo Dicaprio's island. So again, something like this would be good to pick up as an investment for future development or just simply to park some money somewhere and let the natural appreciation and forced appreciation of the area give you a nice little investment. Now, just one caveat, most beachfront properties on Ambergris Caye are cash-only deals. So usually after the webinar, I get a lot of people asking, how much is the financing on this deal and that deal? The only financing deals I have right now to offer you are the lots at Grand Mayan Estates and that one lot up at Habaneros. The rest are all cash deals. Let's continue on just a little bit. Another good thing to look at as far as taking advantage of this opportunity are second row lots, which means they're one row back from the water if you can find one, or a third row lot. Here is where really the easier investments come into play without going all in. I don't know if you can see on the screen, but there's lot number 498. It's got a small red square around it. That lot is on the market for $49.5. So just under 50 grand. There's only one lot between it and those beautiful waters of the Caribbean Sea, of the Ambergris Bay there, and it's very close to where the east-west connection road ends. And actually on the lots just to the south of it, lot number 499 and 505, the Ostlers are there right now as we speak, a nice couple from the United States, and they are breaking ground on their new little family compound. And so I wish them all the best. In fact, I think they might even be on the webinar today. So I wish you all the best, Bobby and Steve, and looking forward to seeing what you come up with in the next couple months. Absolutely beautiful area. And again, anything in this area that is close to having the road access, that is in this price point, is on this Ambergris Bay side, is going to be an easy investment, and for most of you looking to own island property. Now, just as we start to conclude here, because I know we're almost up with our hour, yet we are. If any of you on the webinar today are accredited investors, meaning you make, I think it's $250,000 US a year and have net assets of 1.0 million, then we can open up to you another investment opportunity that is cash flow oriented. This is an opportunity regarding the largest resort being built in the country of Belize as we speak. It's on the island of Ambergris Caye, Belize. It's projected to produce 12 to 16% annual net returns. The minimum buy-in is $100,000 US. And the good thing about this is it's not a new concept, and it's not a new development per se. Although it's not open yet, it is 90% built out. In fact, if you look at this aerial photo here, all those little white buildings, I have these Monopoly pieces here because it reminded me of little homes, little hotels, rental income. But all of the little white buildings you see are part of this resort. And in fact, this is an older photograph. There has been a lot more development on the resort since this was taken. So there are still some opportunities left to get in on this. Again, though, you have to be accredited and you have to have a minimum of $100,000 to invest. If you meet those requirements, then email me after the webinar and I will send you a performance package on that. So basically, all this boils down to is that Leonardo Dicaprio, being not a paid endorser of Belize, but choosing himself to be attached to this very small country in the Caribbean, and what he is doing here with this private island does create so much opportunity for my clients, and this is where it's really exciting. So do me a favor, if any of this interests you, if you have questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I believe that these webinars can be educational for you. I try to make them educational. If my education struck a nerve, maybe it's time for some effective action. I don't know. Only you can decide on that. But if it is, shoot me an email telling me what your name is, of course, what you are interested in the most, what type of investment meets with your investment philosophy. If you're looking for personal use, vacant land ownership, cash flow investments, whatever it is, and I'll do my best to try to find you something that works for you. And also, if you prefer to talk one-on-one, I like Skype. That way you can see me face-to-face and I can see you. It's a little bit more personal way to communicate. My Skype name is island.dennis. So feel free to shoot me an invite on that. And I just like to say thanks. You guys have been really good. And again, I apologize for not being able to take a lot of Q&A on this webinar. I just had a lot to say, and hopefully it was informative for you all. For those of you who follow my webinar scheduling, my next one, I will try to incorporate a lot of Simon Black's information. Many of you who are looking at having a plan B when it comes to the United States because of the issues it's going through right now with its debt and just the direction it's going in, you're looking for options outside of the U.S., Simon Black's your man. And we're going to talk about how a lot of what he proposes regarding second passports, offshore accounts, having a plan B, and also not investing in a bankrupt company or a bank company. Yeah, you wouldn't invest in a bankrupt company. Why would you invest all your money in a bankrupt country? And of course, he's referring to the United States in many ways. We're going to see how a lot of information can apply to Belize. And I'm shooting to do that May 12th at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. All right, so I'll shoot you the invite on that. I appreciate everyone. I enjoy having you all with me today. It's been great. Let me know if you're on the island. Let me know if you're coming down soon and what your goals and plans are, and we'll go from there. Once again, this is Dennis Kaye, Ambergris Caye real estate investment expert, and it's been fun, and talk to y'all soon. Cheers.